Hey, Eric, how's it going? Can you hear me? Good evening. Let me know if you can hear me, Eric. Thanks, JM. Good evening, Steve. Good evening. Hey, Raquel. All right, so looks like we got a few people in here. Facebook is loading up. Give some people some time to get in. So tonight we're talking about Dispute Panda Pro. Hey, Jamie. We're talking about the Dispute Panda Pro. We're talking about the Dispute Panda Pro community as well as the credit repair business blueprint. So we're talking business talk tonight. Business talk. The goal will be to help you get more clients, help you close more clients, help you have more impact, and ultimately lead to more income. And we're going to break down everything with the Dispute Panda Pro, the pro community is all about. Hey, Bridget. And of course, get into your common questions and things like that. So we do have something special going on where, if you are a pro member, we're rolling out the education portion of it. So as you guys already know, we already started off with Raquel handling on the Monday onboarding calls for Dispute Panda. Now we're going to get into the pro specific calls to start breaking down how to start, scale, and run a successful credit repair business. So if you're just trying to say you're trying to make some money on the side, and this is what I tell people all the time, you don't have to make $100,000 a month to be successful. Sometimes as little as $500 a month, right? If you can bring in enough passive income from, say, credit monitoring, or you can bring in some income to pay off your car note or a major bill or a vacation, that's worth it too. But the goal will be to get you to 10K plus a month. So if you're existing credit repair business, the Dispute Panda Pro and its training goal is to add another 10K to what you're doing. If you're just starting out, the goal is to get you to at least 10K, right? So I believe we have the best tools and the best education and some of the best teachers to make that happen. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Hey, Quiz, how's it going? So where you guys from? Drop where you from inside of the chat here. Drop where you're from inside of the chat because we're going to get started in 2 minutes. And it might have been a little bit of confusion as well. I believe the email initially made it seem like we were going live on October the 28th instead of September the 28th. Hey, Bree, how's it going? Wet Palm Beach? Virginia. What part of Virginia you from? I'm in Northern Virginia, Eric. California, nice. Miami, nice. All right. Oh, by the way, it's going to be a little bit more interactive tonight. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat. So what I'll do is I'll do something like this. So for example, when Bree says she's from Virginia, if she has a question, I'll bring it up here and then answer her directly. So this is more interactive because I want to be able to answer any and all of your questions. South Africa, but in South Carolina currently. Nice. Memphis. What's up, Lewis? What part of New York are you from, out Laurie? You can ask now. You can ask as we're going along. All right. So first things first, let's talk about the credit repair business blueprint, right? So the goal here is to not simply just to have a credit software that does the disputing for you, but let's build a business around it as well. So one things that you guys already know that we do with we're probably I believe the first software to offer the platform for free with credit monitoring to people who want to run a business. So for example, if you add Credit Dino, you know you're getting a free attack. So there's a lot of things that you can do with that, especially in this climate that we're going into. I think everyone knows that in about 3 or 4 days, those student loans are due again, right? And there's going to be a lot of people who need help. So if credit card debt is at an all-time high, people now have to pay $500 to $1,000 in student loans. Ultimately, what's going to happen 6 months from now, you're going to start seeing possibly some defaults, unfortunately, and these people are going to need you. They're going to need your services, and they're going to need your help. So the goal will be, hey, let's train people the best way possible to assist the people who are going to need help over the next 6, 12, 18 months. But let's not charge an arm and a leg for that training. Let's give them the game, right? Because sometimes the goal initially might be, let's make a ton of money. But the goal now for us is impact. The entire Dispute Panda team has already done what they needed to do from a business perspective in earlier businesses. So this is like our passion project. This is what we see on how to make a difference. And some of the best ways to make a difference is to provide the education to people who need it, especially if you've been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. So me personally, have ran a credit repair company for quite some time before moving over to the Dispute Panda team. And I've actually trained a lot of the people that you guys look up to. Believe it or not, a lot of these guys went through my former program, 30-Day CRA. So the Credit Repair Business Blueprint is a newer, updated version of the 30-Day CRA that's made for this climate that we are in. Okay. All right, so let's jump right into some of the credit repair business blueprint things that you get when you become a Dispute Panda Pro member. So whether you are on the trial or whether you are a full-fledged member, these are some things that you're going to get. So first thing I want to show off here is I'm going to go into, and can you let me know, can you guys see my screen? Are you guys able to see my screen? Eric said, I figured that you trained. Yeah, a lot of those guys have, they provided some great testimonials for me. I know I'm not as the most vocal person on Facebook and so on and so forth like that, but I believe in, let your work make the noise versus, anything else. All right, so you guys can see my screen. So I'm going to break down the credit repair business blueprint that is coming along with Dispute Panda Pro, right? So in the description of this video, there is going to be a link so you guys can get into the regular Dispute Panda community. When you become a pro member, we're going to put you into the private pro community, and that's where we're going to be doing the ongoing training. So not only we're going to have like the education component here, but now it's more than just education. It's education and there's guidance, because at the end of the day, you're going to want to ask questions, right? If people aren't showing up for the call, what do I do? Hey, if I have this scenario where this person said they can't pay for this, what should I do? That's what this is all about. But I want to go through everything here. So of course, it's not going to be an 8-week program either. It's not going to be something that you can't get through, but it's very, very detailed. So ideally, this is like a 3-week training with ongoing support to help you along the way. So week number 0 is just like pre-support, right? It's like, okay, let's get all the tools that you need. So of course, you most likely already have Dispute Panda already. So, okay, let's get our pro trial, and then let's set up our automations. Because one thing Dispute Panda does not do, it does not send the email follow-ups. It does not send the text follow-ups and things like that. So you do have a link to get your automations, your website if you want one, all that set up as well. And then also to get your credit monitoring link. A huge part of this stuff that people miss out on is the passive income you can receive from providing credit monitoring. So someone already mentioned that they're in Atlanta. If you are in Atlanta, it's I believe you cannot have a credit repair company unless it's linked to some special requirements. Like, so before, they used to say you got to be a nonprofit, or you need to be providing credit repair in conjunction with the sale of a home, or you have to be a lawyer or something like that. Well, what happens if you essentially provide the credit repair for free, because you can provide them a link to your monitoring and you can send them the letters? So part of the stuff we're going to be talking about, hey, what if people want you to do it for them? And what if there's a scenario in which you don't want to serve that particular client? Then you can downsell to something different and then provide them the letters, but you can still serve more people. So either case, so pre-work is pretty much getting access to the systems, getting access to the group. So you're going to do week 0 and week 1 at the same exact time. And essentially, we want you in all the areas. So this means the community. This means you got all your tools already. Literally, the first week you have everything you need to run a successful business. And then we start building everything else from there. We also get into mindset. I'm a huge fan of mindset. It's a big difference from it's a big difference from seeing like, hey, I've seen somebody make a bunch of money online and then versus you having the mindset of being the business owner, right? Like I think a lot of people kind of get caught up in the glitz and the glam of running a business, and they don't understand it. It's a little bit more involved than that. It's more than just, hey, I got a fancy car, people want to start buying from me now. You literally have to become the person that you would like to attract. And we talk about this here, but we also get into like the math of it, right? Because a lot of people will always say, oh, credit repair seems so saturated. We start breaking down, well, how much do you personally need in your business to be successful? And then we work backwards to get to that number. So earlier I mentioned that, hey, you may not need to make $100,000 a month. Some people literally just want a business to pay for their mortgage or to pay for their rent or to pay for their car. That is a totally different business than somebody who wants to make $1 million a year, right? So I know a lot of people go for, I want to make 6 figures a month, but you don't ever start there. So let's work up to it. So we get down behind the math of it all. We get down the best type of credit repair agency to have. We get down to becoming the person who deserves to win, right? Because I believe people attract what they attract. And then we get into some future telling, like what happens if you stick to this business. So in my instance in particular, was able to leave a job I didn't want to be at, was able to travel with the fam, was able to pay off my home, pay my mother-in-law home, my mother at home. So it's a lot of things that come along with you running a successful business. But I'm a firm believer with starting the end in mind, right? There's some people who want to go into the office in their own brick and mortar. There's some people who want to work from home. This is all about setting up the business that makes the most sense for the season of life that you are in. It's way more than just making a bunch of money. I know a ton of people making a bunch of money who not happy, and we want to make sure that we're setting up and aiming for the type of business that you want to do. All right, and then we get into the nitty-gritty details of it. So we set up your credit repair business for success and for funding. And we get into what mistakes that you don't want to make, choosing the business name, the business phone number, your entity, how to get your LLC for free, how to get your EIN for free, how to set up your operating agreements, how to get your business bank account, how to get your funding, how to get your bonding, and then a recap of everything. So all the stuff that you typically see on social media regarding how to get funding, we essentially cover that in this chapter. Because here's another thing I'm a firm believer in. I'm a firm believer in if you set it up properly and you know how to do these things, this is possibly another service that you can offer to somebody else, right? There's tons of people who have no clue on how to set these things up. Number one, we're showing you how to do it properly in a high risk industry like credit repair, right? Which is one of the highest risk industry. But number two, you just kind of learn the skill that everyone is selling right now. So What you can do is you don't necessarily sell credit repair. You can sell funding, and then if they can't qualify for funding, then you can do the credit repair on the back end. You can package this up and sell this as an ebook. You can package this up and sell this as your own course. But if you know, then you are able to teach. Does that make sense? Is everyone kind of picking up what I'm putting down so far? Am I going too fast? And we're still in week 0. We do those two things right off the break. We figure out what kind of business we're going to run. We figure out why we're going to run the business. And then we set ourselves up properly and for funding with a proper entity, all the way down to how we're going to manage our books. Because, you got to pay IRS too. Miller said, I'm glad to see you coming outside. John said, I understand. I already said on point. Cool. And of course, then we got recaps. Now, keep in mind, what you're not, I believe education is easy to get, right? Everybody has YouTube. Everybody has Amazon. The main thing that you're also going to be getting in here is we're going to have recap calls. So say you're going through this and you're like, oh, Don, what state should I incorporate in? It says this, I'm having trouble. My bank account, should I go to this bank? Well, we're going to go on a call like this and we're going to talk through it. Because the goal at the end of the day is the more successful you are, the more successful, the easier it is for us to reach our mission. Because if our goal at Dispute Panda is to have more impact in the world, then what's the best way to have more impact than give the game away and allow you to go out there and be great. And if you need help, be able to support you. You guys been on my lives before. They've been 3 to 4 hours just literally talking about credit repair. We happen to be talking about another thing that I really like, business. All right, cool. All right, so let's move on to the next. And of course, we got improvement surveys. I don't believe you're nothing unless you're asking on how to be improved. So every week we go through, we're going to ask you how to be better. All right, now we get into week 1, the nitty gritty. Yeah, that was week 1. So now we start getting into how to create a rock star brand so people know, love, and trust you. I think what a lot of people mess up on is they don't properly brand themselves so that they are attracting the people that they like. They just start running, right? They just start running and they don't really take a step back and say, all right, am I putting out there what my ideal client will like to see, right? Whether you want to be a financial influencer or whether you want to be a person that just works off referral traffic, how you set this up also matters, right? So then we get into, the branding, the social media posts. What are we looking like the whole 9? So we're literally setting our business up so when people see us, they want to do business with us. I'll just put it that way. And of course, we're going to get into automation because not everybody wants to do this by hand. So we set up automations as well. Then we get into, in this same week, we started getting to advanced credit repair stuff, right? So not only we're going to go through the typical Dispute Panda stuff that we have, we're going to get into, well, what are the additional little nuances that Pro has, right? There's a reason why we added creditor letters to the Pro plan. There's a reason why we've added late payment logic to the credit dyno and the Pro plan. We've done all these things because we know when you look at the FCRA, you have to do more than just send things to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You might have to go to AMEX, Capital One, or the person who put it on the report. And you should be able to do that quickly and efficiently. You might have to go to LexisNexis, ARS, Innovis, and so on and so forth to get the job done. These are a little bit more advanced flows than your typical point and click, I would say point and click Dispute Panda way. We're getting into the nitty gritty of stuff. When do I get into consumer law versus factual disputing? Why would I use this in this particular one? What round would I go to the CFPB? When would I engage with a pre-litigation attorney to get this done? What does a violation look like? We can have these conversations in the Pro Talk because you're trying to run this as a business. And if you're doing this as a business, you should know a little bit more about ways to get things done to give your client the best results, right? We also get into getting paid from other ways than just credit repair, right? Sometimes a lot of people simply make their money from, say, a monthly fee, a one-time, whatever it might be. We talk about more of those things in here. Let's keep it going. Of course, another improvement survey. One of the biggest sections we get into is how to get clients without paid ads. So if anybody who's been in my 30-day CRA program before, have seen me before, you know I was a direct response guy. I did a lot when it came to paid ads. Apple kind of messed it up when they did their iOS update. So we had to change the way you're getting leads now. And this is where we're really getting into it, right? So we get into text messaging, how to be the star how to be the star of the show to get clients. We go through a loan officer blitz, a real estate person blitz, how to leverage existing clients to get more clients. I think one area a lot of people mess up in is literally getting referrals. I'm just going to tell you right now, here's the gem. You probably should be asking once a week or at least once every 2 weeks, your existing clients or the people who just signed up, do they have a friend? Most people who are coming to you for credit help most likely have a friend who need credit help too. And you're most likely just not asking. And there's several ways you can do to get more referrals. If you look at how Dispute Panda has grown, it has grown through referrals. You didn't see us advertising this last year. You didn't see us personally marketing. We're starting to ratchet that stuff up now, but a lot of that came from referrals. And the way you get referrals is by asking in a certain way, right? Because if you're trying to get to 100 clients to get your $10,000 a month, if you know how to ask properly, you get there real quick. And then we also get into how to be a master of your craft, right? So this is where we're getting into laws behind why this works. So you're going to look at the credit report resource guide. We're going to break that down. We're going to break down the FCRA so you could understand what the USC codes are versus the sections and so on and so forth, and how that mirrors together. You're going to understand the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and why this happens. So if you are challenged by a client, a real estate agent, a loan officer, you know how to talk the talk. You know the rules of the game. Yes, the software does a lot of it for you, but the more you know about the game, the better you are. I have not met you know why Kobe Bryant, LeBron, and those guys were so good? Outside of just simply playing the game a lot, they knew the rules. When you know the rules, you know when you can do a gather, a sidestep, you can do all that. This is about essentially knowing the rules. And when you know the rules, you know you're going to be confident. I've never seen somebody who didn't read the instructions before they start building the IKEA table that couldn't get it together. So the more you know, number one, the more BS you'll be able to kind of pinpoint and see, because there's a lot of that out there. But number two, the more confident you are going to be in your abilities. Because even though Dom in Dispute Panda might say, hey, do it this way, because you've studied, you are now able to say, okay, I tried this. Let me try this plus this. Let me try this plus this plus this. Or I heard somebody say this. Let me look up the law to see if that actually makes sense versus somebody just kind of talking out of the side of their head. And of course, we're going to have more communication calls. So that's how you go. So we go from starting the business mindset, figuring out what kind of business that we want to have, setting up the business, getting funding if it's needed, to getting our leads and getting results, to our knowledge base. You see how it's very structured and very sequential? That's exactly how the credit repair business blueprint will flow. All right, let me check over here. Any questions on that? Any questions on how that training is going to flow for the pro members or anything like that? Let me bring my screen up. Let me stop sharing. Remove from the scene. Cool. Any questions on that? Any questions on how the training will flow? Anybody want me to go into a little bit more details on this as well? So as far as the education wise, we do go into CROA, we go into FACTA, we go into the Fair Credit Billing Act, we go into the FCRA, we go into the statute of limitations, we go into the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You will be very versed in what you are doing. The goal is to give you all the tools you need and the support you need to help the people that you love be successful. Right? All right. And then inside, I believe a lot of you guys received an email from us to get inside of the community. So there is a general community inside of Dispute Panda, and then there's the pro community as well. So in the pro community, this is where not only we're going to have the weekly calls, but say you're going through the training or something comes up with your client, you're able to drop a little bit. You're able to drop it inside the pro community, and ideally, we're going to be able to answer the questions as well. Now, the calls that we're going to have, they're going to be Zoom, right? Because we like to have people come up and speak versus it being like a one-way scenario like the YouTube is right now. So there will be Zoom calls, and the cost of this is actually is free. You're not going to pay for the education, right? If you are a Dispute Panda Pro member, you're already telling us that you're interested in running this as a business. So the education kind of comes with that. That is the value add that we wanted to provide. Q Gomez says, how long is the Dispute Panda Pro trial? The trial is, let me bring it up here. I'll go to the website. Here. Give me a second. Let me share my screen window. The trial for Dispute Panda Pro is 14 days. And let me go over. Let me do this too. So, Pro, and I'm gonna go actually show you guys this because you get the forms, one-click imports, integrated billing. That's another thing. So, in order to run the business, you're gonna want to be able to bill. You want to be able to communicate with the client. So I'm gonna show you guys safe client access and what your client sees, so you don't have to manually do everything. Show you the community and everything. So there's two ways. So you can do the trial, and then what a lot of people are doing is they're doing the trial, and then they upgrade to the yearly so they can save a little bit more. So if you think about it, if it costs you $197 a month to have everything you need, and we're able to coach you business-wise to get to 5, 10K a month, it's kind of like a no-brainer. You're trading. If you're at 5, 10K a month and the software is allowing you to be able to get clients and move how you want to move, you're fine. Now, here's the other thing. Dispute Panda, I believe, is the only platform that is free to sign up with, free to use with credit monitoring, whereas I believe the other platforms require you to have a monthly subscription right off the break. So if you don't want to use Pro, no problem, no hard feelings. I won't be seeing you inside of the training. We won't be going through the business coaching inside it and all that. I get it. It is what it is. But you can still use Dispute Panda as well. So you got the branded client portal. I'm about to show you guys this in a second. So this is what the branded client portal will look like. So this is your secure client portal on what your client will see. So you know how in the regular Dispute Panda, you're adding everything and you're doing all that. In this scenario, your client has their own login. So essentially, they go to safeclientaccess.com. And when they log in, they're going to see their credit scores. They're going to see their name. They're going to be able to see like your sample company over here. So I'll show you where this is really quickly. Give me a second. Let me log back in and show you how you set all that up. All right, so when you come in here and you go into the Pro, you will come to this middle screen right here, and you'll hit try for $1 and you're able to get Pro. But how you set up your safe client access with Pro is all in your organizational tab, right? So when you come in here and you put in your company name, your website address, your support number, this is all the information that your client is going to see when they log into their portal. Of course, your service agreement, the whole nine. Even your company logo. You can come in here, you can add team members, and of course you can add your affiliate links, so on and so forth. So when they log into their portal, they're going to see all your stuff. So this Safe Client Access portal it looks like this. Safe Client Access, and then all they have to do is log in with their username and password. They actually get an email. They're going to get an email where they can log in. And then as soon as they put in their username and password, they can do all the communication with you from here. See how it says my sample company? So if they wanted to send me a message, they can say, yo, I'm in. Or they can upload documents as well. So I just sent myself a message to show you guys how it will work. And you see how the inbox over here is showing the message? So instead of you manually having to add clients, you send them a link and they do everything. And now all your communication is back and forth through this particular portal. So when they get items from the consumer reporting agencies, they can come in here and then upload it, right? So let me upload this fake passport and all that. They can upload their documents they get, right? And then you're able, on the other side of the coin, I'm basically showing you guys both sides. You're able to grab it right here. So it alleviates a lot of, let's say, headache that you might have. They're able to see their progress as well. So as things are deleted and so on and forth, they literally can just log in the portal and see everything. So ideally, once they get started, instead of calling your phone, texting you every 2 seconds, they just come into their portal and they can see where they're going off at. They even upload their own documentation and change their signature and all that. So This is the area in which they will upload all those things. As you see, they put all this in here, and then this goes right into your portal for you. And this is branded to your company. It just says Safe Client Access. They would never know you're using Dispute Panda either. Jawan says community. Can you go over the updates tab? Yep, I'll go over the updates tabs right now. All right, so the updates tab. If I come back in here, so there's a couple updates here. So one, you have the reports tab here, right? So this reports tab breaks down how everything has occurred over the last 7 days or the last month or so. So this is more so like inside your entire system, you have personal reports in which you can use for social media and so on and so forth. So if I was to go in here, let me see, let me find another client. So when you initially start off, you have to send your first round of attacks out. And then when you re-import the credit report, you're going to see an updates tab that shows you the difference between what was deleted and what was remaining and so on and so forth, right? So let's go through the disputing tab first, and then I'll go through each of these tabs to show a little bit of differences. So one thing that you'll get with Pro is you're going to see something. You guys see how this particular account says, warning, this account contains late payments. Removing it may affect the client due to the amount of late payments or credit age. So one thing you also get is you can kind of get this updated late payment logic, because there's certain things you don't want deleted. Like, why would we want this account deleted versus, because some people don't look at the red markers. So you get updated logic there. Number two, you most likely are seeing, let me see here if it comes up. You see how it has addresses here, this PO box here? This is for the creditor letters too. So let me trigger, and another thing that you guys probably already noticed here, you can select folders and save them. So say you are doing consumer law factual disputing, you can come here and this is a factual dispute for a BK7. And I can just save that in this folder here. See how I have all my information there? But that's something we go over in detail. But either case, the updates tab. So once I save my filter and say I create an attack, let me just create one. Of course, you have your creditor letters. Let's go handwritten mode. I'm going to just do a regular nerve attack. Start round. Confirm. So the creditor letters also generate automatically. See how we now have two tabs there? So Section 623 of the Fair Credit Reporting Act puts the onus of the original creditor for responding to disputes as well. So when a lot of people are getting like stall letters and things like that from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, it's because the big consumer reporting agencies are basically testing you. Basically, they're challenging you and say, well, unless you sue me, I'm not going to move, right? But when you start doing stuff like going to the creditor, and you can do that automatically as well, it forces you can attack both at the same time. So now that we created this, if I was to come back in here, and let me stop sharing my screen so I can add in another report really quickly so I can show you this updates tab. Let me see, remove from scene. Do you remote? Nope. Let me just stop sharing. All right, I stopped sharing my screen. Give me a second here. So now I'm going to load in another set of credentials. So I can show you the updates tab. Let me see. Hopefully this one still works. Inactive. Give me a second. See if I can find it. Here we go. I got one. I'm loading up the credentials now. All right, I just loaded it in. So now let me share the screen. Window, which one is it? All right. So now that I essentially simulated as if 35 days went by. So you see we have an updates tab here. So this updates tab is essentially showing you all the things that might have been deleted or removed. So I uploaded somebody with a worse score than we had before. So now you see the difference here. So when your client actually logs into the Safe Client Access and they refresh, it's going to update with the newer scores. You see how now it's showing the deletions and the negative accounts and the positives. So your client will automatically see that. And you see it also in your updates tab. And then, of course, you can download this as a PDF. You can do a shareable report where you can post this on social media. Yes, we had this. We had this first. We had this in April. I understand some people came with their own, but we had that first. But either case, and then you also have your invoice and your notes tab. So your notes. So say you have a team, right? And you want to say attack every, let's say 40 days or something like that, or don't attack the inquiries are AMEX. Like say your client told you that, I'm trying to qualify for something and they say, don't touch this one and attack every 4 days. You have a little note section, which you can do too. So hopefully that answered your question regarding the updates tab as well, Outry. Do you have contracts? So initially, inside of the credit repair business blueprint training, we will have contracts in there. Now, keep this in mind, right? Contracts are based off the state in which your client is in, right? So keep that in mind. The contract will be based off the state in which your client is in. So you possibly could have a general contract, but California has different rules than South Carolina. Florida may have different rules than so on and so forth. So it's a scenario where you kind of want to build your own, but yes, we will have a sample contract for you. So Renard, this is a great question, right? So I want you to look at the Dispute Panda Pro and then I got to move your question so you can see it. The Dispute Panda Pro is the tool, right? You get the subscriptions, you get the integrated billing, you get the merchant account, you get your plans, you get all that other jazz in here, so on and so forth like that. You get your payment forms, you get your inbox. So it's your tool. Attacks, we recommend that you use Credit Dyno because you don't have to pay per dispute when you use Credit Dyno. There's no reason why you wouldn't use Credit Dyno because one, you're going to get higher affiliate commissions. Two, you don't pay at all for attacks. So when you see this little 3 down here, I'm not sure if it's close enough, but if you hover over this, it says every 35 days, you get a free attack with Credit Dyno credit monitoring as long as your client maintains active credit monitoring. That gives you a lot of flexibility. So say you wanted to charge, I'll give an example, $300 a month. And in 2 to 3 months from now, say the economy takes a turn. Well, maybe you have another plan that's $49.99 or $59.99 that's a downsell, and you say, listen, for my $59.99 plan, I'll create the letters for you, email them to you, and then you send them out. Why is that still viable for you? Well, because if you get your attacks for free and you're having the person send them out, you can still win. So you can play around with it because you get your attacks for free using Credit Dyno. So I haven't signed up. I haven't chose Panda Pro. Do I still get the option for a trial? Yes. If you go into your balance section, you should be able to see your ability to get a trial there. So Outreach, so this is a great question. Does it automatically detect to remove the late payment, not the whole account? Correct. So there's 2 forms of logic at play here. There's 2 forms of logic at play here. One is the don't attack it at all. The second one is, 3 forms of logic. One, don't attack it because it doesn't even make sense to attack it. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, basically. 2, attack it, but ask for pay for deletion. Never late paid is agreed, and you're not asking for a deletion. And 3, this this account has so many late payments that we need it gone. So yes, you're going to have 3 forms of late payment logic. I believe what's in there, and all 3 of them are active. Do you think credit repair services work hand in hand with health and life insurance? Possibly. So it depends on what kind of health insurance, right? So case in point, if somebody's doing some form of cosmetic surgery and they can't necessarily afford that bill, so they need to improve their credit to get a credit card so they can do it, that makes sense. I think it's an easier pitch, John, when the credit improvement is needed to move forward. So buying a home, your credit is paramount. Getting business funding, your credit is paramount. Taxes, right? Typically, people who get their taxes done oftentimes are in the same vein of financial services for that as well. Because you're speaking about health insurance and life insurance, it's easier to have the conversation, right? Because you're still looking at finances in general. It might be a little bit easier to sell with other things. What is the difference when you dispute with Panda than with the credit bureaus? So I'm assuming you were referring to disputing with Equifax or Experian and TransUnion versus directly with the original creditor. So essentially, if you look at the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Section 623, I don't know the USC code of it all. Let me see if I can get that USC code for you. The original creditor also has duties in which they must respond to a dispute. So when you challenge directly with Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, they send it to the original creditor. The original creditor communicates back with them, and then they send it back to you. There's another way you can go, right? You can go directly to American Express, for example, and then they have to respond to you as well. So if you look at 15 USC 1681 S-2, that's where you'll see all the responsibilities of furnishers of information to consumer reporting agencies. So keep in mind, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion is a consumer reporting agency. They get their information in the Metro 2 format from the original creditor. The original creditor, aka data furnishers, also have responsibilities prior to putting that information on your account. That's why if you look at section 1681, it says reinvestigation, because technically an investigation was supposed to be had before they put it on your consumer report. So yes, it puts the onus on the data furnisher as well, because case in point, if you send something to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion and they are stalling you out, and as in, they claim they're not responding, or they're not doing their job of telling the data furnisher that there's a dispute, well, it's hard for the data furnisher to do their job. But if you as a consumer go directly to the person who put it on there and they violate your rights, that opens them up as well to litigation. So not only if you have a fault from the consumer reporting agencies from not responding to you, but if American Express or Capital One or whoever is violating your rights, it makes it very, very, it makes it a little bit easier for you to get funds if you decide to move forward in the lawsuit. Santana says, are we able to send the client link to update their credit card payment? Yes. That should be, let me look at it now. Payment forms. I don't think I have any active subscriptions in here. I believe it goes through the client portal. Yes, Santana. And if you can't find it, just send a message to support. We'll get them to shoot a quick vid. John, do we receive template billing plans and pricing? So John, here's the thing. You can charge based off your clientele, right? So there are some people who live in certain parts of America where, just think of it like hotels, right? If you live in a rural, if you're not in like a major city, you most likely you're not going to see a 4 or 5 star luxury hotel there. You're most likely going to see 2 and 3 star because of the population. So depending on your clientele, you know if the people you are attracting what they can afford, right? If I'm in an area where people can only afford 99.99 versus another area, some people might be in an area where people can afford $1,000 or $2,000. You can decide. Now, here's the beauty of it: you can create as many subscriptions plans as you want. And what I'm a huge fan of is testing. When I ran a credit repair company, I didn't know my worth initially in the beginning. I was doing full service work for like $59.99. It was a method to my madness, right? I was like, I wanted to get testimonials up, and I wanted to work the referral game, and then I raised my prices. So yeah, I would say, but at a minimum, you're probably going to be around the 59 plus at a minimum, depending on how you're running your business. And if you're coupling this with some other form of service, you may not charge for credit repair at all. You might use credit repair as lead gen. There are some people who I've trained where they move completely to business funding. So when they're doing their marketing, they're speaking about business funding, and they know that 80 or 90% of the people are not going to meet the qualifications to get business funding, right? So they default to credit repair anyway, but they really make their money off the funding and the credit monitoring aspect of things. And you can do that as well. So I think your pricing is going to depend on, one, your goals, two, your market, and three, possibly the other thing that you might be selling as well. So if I'm a loan officer, for example, or a real estate agent, and I have a bunch of people in my database who have credit issues, I know I make my true money off selling them the home. I don't need to make a ton of money off the credit repair, because if I can keep you in my ecosystem and you refer all your friends and family to me, and I'm the number one agent in my city, I will make way more money in the long run anyway. Same thing when it comes to funding. Same thing when it comes to maybe you want to have a $49.99 academy that you're selling, and so on and so forth. So depending on your business goals is how I would play that. Do I need to add laws and stuff, or just update to paid as agreed? So you don't have to add laws to get results. Some people love to add, USC codes and consumer law and all that stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to do that to win. I think the main thing is what you're asking to do at the end of the day, right? So whether you're using consumer law, factual disputing, Metro 2, if you do not want that account deleted, you should specify that inside the dispute. Marcus says, how accurate when it shows the date shown of last attack in the static letter? Can you filter by those date last attack static letters? I think you're talking about this. Let me see something. Let me save my filter here. So I think you are referring to, let me add this scene. I think you're referring to this, Marcus. So essentially how this goes, you'll see like it, it'll line it up based off how you actually ran the attacks. And essentially the ones that are closer to the bottom are the ones you ran most recently. So for example, this was a September 23 creditor letter, and this was a September 23 attack. This was September 14. This was September 14. So the attacks are going to go into the order of how many attacks I ran, and then the creditor letters are specifying in the same order. They just line up next to each other depending on how you ran them. This is a good question regarding check system disputes. So would there be late payment disputes if not already, and also check system disputes? So here's the thing about check systems, right? Check systems is not tied to a consumer reporting agency. Like, so when you import, so everything on your disputing tab, right, comes from what's on your Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion report. That bank account that's in check system most likely is not in Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. However, you can go to the check system website, you can fill out the information to pull that report, and you can challenge the check system has their own disputing and challenging process. So if you're telling me, hey, Dom, I loaded in the credit report and the bank account was showing on Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, then you can necessarily, because we can identify it, right? Then you can challenge it. The only other way you can do it will be a manual way. There is going to be a way to manually add accounts, but if it's bank account information, is it going to align with the 26 fields that typically show up in a credit report? I don't think so. So we can go through a possible manual process for that. It's just not, unless you can see it on the credit report. I'm trying to figure out how we can attack it. So if you can shoot over, let's say, a video, or say you have you uploaded a credit report and you can see the bank info, then we can work with it. Other than that, it will have to be a manual process regarding check systems. Yeah. So some people use the timing of the late payments, right? 15 USC 1666B. Some people use the A3 as well. So yes. So those will be the consumer laws or / factual disputing methods that you can choose. If items aren't removed via the attack, can you send letters to the CFPB? You can, but the issue is, so when you go to Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, I wouldn't do it early. I'm a fan of building a case, right? So if I cleaned up the personal information, I attacked the secondaries, I attacked the Consumer Reporting Agency, I attacked the original creditor. If I did that I like to go at round 3 or 4, right? Because when I go to the CFPB, FTC, or escalate up, I want to send the file. Like, I don't go to those guys immediately, because I think people kind of played it out when a year or two ago people were going straight to the CFPB getting things removed. This a little bit different climate now. Everyone's running with the same reasonings and so on and so forth. So if I'm escalating, I would recommend that you escalate with some 2 or 3 or 4 rounds of data that you're escalating. So now your case is proven. It's like, listen, I've done this, this, and this. Here's the violation is still there. Here's all the work that I did, so on and so forth. Now they have something to work with, versus what a lot of people are doing. They're going there round 1, and then they're getting mad when the CFPB automatically closes their investigation. All right, so I'm going to answer a little bit more questions, but I wanted to show you guys the community. Are you guys inside the community yet? Did you guys get did you guys see the link in the description to join that? So Rio de Janeiro, this is actually added. We got your, this is something that's in staging now and being testing. So there's going to be a weekly option coming pretty soon. Just spoke with the devs about it. So yes, that will be in there. And how do I show my community tab? Hold on for a second, guys. I'm going to see this. Window. There we go. Add to scene. All right, so here is the community as well. So we're gonna have the you see me and Kinsley with Coco there. So here's the basic community here, and then you're gonna have, I'm not sure if you can see this on the left here, it says Pro members. So this is where everyone's gonna be going who's inside of Pro and inside the Credit Repair Business Blueprint, because we want to have a little separate area when we doing our talks, right? So we're gonna have our own hot seats, our own talks and things like that, and it's private. It's not just the general community, and it's something where you could say share a little bit more. I think we can be a little bit more vulnerable in the Pro community. So you have the Pro community, and this is exclusive to Pro members, exclusive to the Credit Repair Business Blueprint folks. And then you got the Bamboo Forest, which is the general one, right? As we said before, we didn't want to build on Facebook because, they might block our reach. You never know what happens. Zuckerberg might wake up one day and not like us. So we do have this here. And of course you see, people are commenting, and Jamie's commenting, going back and forth. We just answer something for Mr. Dunlap. I'm in there for sure. We also do a little bit more because we can share photos and all that jazz too. So make sure you're inside that community. And when you get into Pro, you're going to receive an email with the Pro invite inside of the Pro community, as well as the Credit Repair Business Blueprint, because this is where we're going to be having a lot of stuff. Also, a lot of the live calls, you'll see the events for that in there as well. So you can come into the community and get additional support and help and all that. Please, please, please sign up. Hit that link inside. Actually, if you scan this QR code or the link in the description, you'll be able to get right in there as well if you're not in there already. Marcus says, hold on for a second. Let me fix this. Change my dynamic scene. Make me the spotlight. Home screen where you're looking at all clients. What do you mean by that, Marcus? Can you repeat that? Home screen when you're looking at all clients? I'm not sure what you mean. Detron says, why is there a certified mail and regular sending option? It's like, why would I choose a non-effect method when sending out a tax? So certified mail gives you proof that your letter arrived, right? It does not mean it's more effective than first class mail. It means that you have tracking of when your package arrived. Right? There's still a timestamp on first class mail. There are certain scenarios where it makes sense to use certified over first class. There are certain scenarios when it makes sense to use to hand mail versus use the system and so on and so forth. It's not less effective, but it does give you tracking of, hey, I sent it this date and this is when it arrived. And what I like to tell people is test it out. There's been times where sent all certified mail, all in color, and results were better, right? And there could be a season where first class mail is doing it, and hand stamps and all that other jazz. Our perspective from a software side of the house is we want you to have all options. John says, I really came here to be my first client. I'm really curious as to how this can be a viable business for myself. So, John, the best thing you can do is be your own client, right? So you be your own client. You understand, you get confident and you understand things, and then you go out and help others, right? So I'm pretty sure, John, you might have a friend or a family member who wants to get something from a credit perspective. Your first 10 clients most likely is going to be your hot audience, people inside of your cell phone. It could be. Right. I think a lot of people jump straight to social media, but if you add yourself in and then, you say, hey, here's my link to credit monitoring, Credit Dyno. I'm going to analyze and do your credit for you, so on and so forth. Maybe the first 5 or 6 people you're doing it for the credit monitoring commissions, and then word gets out and then you start charging more and more on what you want to make. But I believe everyone starts as their own first client. I started as my own first client as well when my credit score was below 600. It's how you learn. It's how you get comfortable talking the talk. What do I do if I get reports that something has been removed, but I still see it on my report? So it might be a timing issue, JD Productions. So if you get something in the mail from the consumer reporting agencies that something was deleted, you might have to re-import that credit report once it refreshes. So if you have a credit report dated on the 1st, you receive a letter on the 7th that something was deleted from your report, you can't look at the credit report dated the 1st, right? Your credit score and your credit report is a snapshot in time from when it is pulled, right? So if you have a credit report that you imported on the 1st and that 3B report from Credit Dyno says September 1, and then September 7th, you get something in the mail saying something was deleted from your report, either they deleted it immediately or they say we are going to delete it and it might take another 10 to 15 days or so. But you can't look at the report from the 1st. You want to wait for that 35 days, pull that report on the 15th of the next month, and ideally the things that they said was deleted is gone. It's not letting me save a template for factual disputing. So chances are you, let me see, where is my screen that I want to be at? Did it log me out? It did. Give me a second. I'll show you how to do that really quickly. Do you guys have any business questions? Any Dispute Panda Pro questions? Anything like that? I know you guys are asking me the general attack stuff, but what about from the business side of the house? How you guys doing as far as getting leads? Are you, matter of fact, do we have a majority business owner in here, or we have people who are going to start a business in here? Maybe that is the issue we got going on. So I'm on my disputing tab. Let me show you what I got going on here. Let me show you how to do this. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to take your comment down so you can see it. So when you go to add a message, right? You want to say this is for, this is my late payment attack that I want to save. Whatever you would say here. You want to click the save custom message for future use. Say late payment 1. I named it, and then you have to create your folder, right? So I'm gonna type in the name of the folder that I have. Late payment 2. I'll put late payment 2. It says add item. As soon as I hit add item and hit save template, it takes me back to the screen because it put my message there, right? So if I hit edit custom message, I click on save templates, you see the folder that I've created in there now? Now it's in my folder. If I open this up, I can edit this message. I can move it. I can move it to my late payment folder. See, I just moved it to the late payment folder. Or, are they going to let me just type in a new one? If I take that out and I say late payment folder 3, add item, save template, I've moved it to my late payment folder 3. I can go to edit, move it to my late payment folder, save template. And you see how, because I don't have any messages in the other folder, it took it out. It removed the template completely. So that's how you would do it. Hopefully that was clear out Laurie and everyone else who was watching. Dre says, I'm a community. Dope. Make sure you guys make your introductory post, man. Don't be no stranger. Someone linked the community. So inside of the description of this video, or send a message to support. They can get you over there. Oh, there we go. So it's different community. Yeah, so you have two different communities. You have the pro community, you have the general community. So the pro community is when we put you inside of the credit repair business blueprint and you're inside of the Dispute Panda Pro, you're going to have access to the pro community as well as the general one. We want the pro talks regarding business and stuff like that to be inside of the pro community so we can kind of keep it all tight. Because here's the reason why, right? There's going to be some people who don't want to start a business at all. And they might just, speak in the general community. So therefore we can keep our, our aspirations and the business stuff and, how do we get leads and sales and yada, yada, yada to the people who want to talk about that. Howard says, how many rounds have you seen a bankruptcy removed? I've seen bankruptcy removed in round 1. I've seen bankruptcies removed in round 12. It's really going to come down to the response that you're getting and what's going on with that client's profile. What I highly recommend, though, is when you are attacking that bankruptcy, that you maximize the use of all of the static letters. So, for example, what I mean by that, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let me, all right, so for that bankruptcy, do I have one on this one? I don't, but let's assume this was a bankruptcy. Number 1, I would definitely make sure I'm using my static in my bankruptcy court letter. But number 2, I'm definitely going to make sure that I'm challenging LexisNexis, Innovis, LCI, ARS, and Credco. right? So I'm cleaning up the personal information. I'm challenging the items that were included in bankruptcy. I'm challenging the secondary consumer reporting agencies. And then I'm also challenging what Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So it's a bit more work. Having issues removing paid student loans. May I ask, why would you want to remove a paid student loan? Hopefully this is not a positive account that's been around with a, perfect, flawless, on-time payment history. But if it's an account if it's just a student loan that's paid, I wouldn't necessarily remove it. Trying to sort client by date of last attacks. Okay, so if you want to know your date of last attack, Marcus, so here's one where I've sent a bunch, right? I would just look at the attack one. So when I click on that one, it tells me that my attack was September 23rd. Oops, you can't see it. And my face is in the way. All right. Let me make this the spotlight. You see where it says September 23rd, 2023 here? And I basically clicked on my last attack. And I guess another thing that you can do, if you go into your dashboard here, I think I got another way you can do it. Date since last round. So this one was 26 days ago. Let me see here. And then on the dashboard, I believe it also specifies if they're inactive, they're not going to be in this rounds tab. So essentially it specifies, hey, this person, you haven't sent something to this person in 393 days. Most likely I just was being lazy about making this person inactive. But if they were inactive, they wouldn't be on here. So one thing that you can do is just maintain proper cleanup of your accounts by making people inactive who are inactive. Jawan says, I sent the cease and desist in January, but I just found out about 1099 form. Should I lift the letters and go after the original creditors? Is there an invoice letter to get paid? I'm assuming you're referring to charged off debt and then sending the 1099 paperwork saying, hey, if you charge me off, prove it. You can do that as well. I would say your first bet will be to, after you attack the original creditor while you're attacking the consumer reporting agencies. You can do the 1099 follow-up thing, let's say round 2 or 3. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get deleted because, if they furnish that information, then it's still on your report. This is a good question here. How do I get paid for referrals? Let me go back to here. Let me take off this screen share. Make myself the spotlight. All right, how do I get paid from referrals if I'm working my first client? Very simple. You ask that first client, do they know anybody who needs credit repair? You know anybody who's trying to buy a house? And then you can say you offer them incentives. Hey, if you send me 3 people, I give your next month for free. Wouldn't you trade 3 new people for 1 month off all day? I would. And chances are, the fact that they already provided you all their personal information, there's a high probability that they will, help you out. Definitely would do that, bro. He says, thanks for the questions. I'll wait a little bit longer. Yep. Just wait a little bit longer. It should pop up. Julian says, I'm using Kong automations with the Dispute Panda Pro. Need some advice on getting more leads and how to improve my flow. So we definitely cover getting leads in the credit repair business blueprint. For what the team has told me is Monday. We plan on launching that. So just kind of keep in mind that around Monday, you should be getting, knock on wood, Around Monday, you should be getting something on how we're getting started. I believe that is week one. Week one, we cover the lead process. Partner with dealerships. Not bad. How many dealerships are you speaking with? Are you speaking with loan officers and real estate agents? The way I would personally go after, I wouldn't say market for credit repair. Like nobody wakes up saying they want credit repair, right? They want their house, they want the car, they want funding. So if you take a step back and say, okay, who has my people? I tell you, the car dealership has some of them. The leasing office has some of them, right? The the real estate professionals definitely have them. So if we're going with the affiliate route, I would expand my reach to that. But if you have a partner with a dealership, then I will definitely start working the referral angles too. So the people that did come through the door, whether it's a consultation or they signed up, I'm immediately asking them for referrals also. Eric, when does it start? Monday. The second is when people are going to start rolling in. I need help setting up automations. What kind of automations do you need help with? I know we definitely cover this in the credit repair business blueprint program, whether it's website, whether it's emails, whether it's texting and stuff like that. So I'll be interested in what are you trying to automate so we can help you best automate those things. I have an example with the businesses. With some advice on leads. So there's several leads. There's warm, cold, and then there's the brand building side of the house. I think you kind of will do all three. The first thing I like to do is I want to be the master of my immediate domain, right? So like I feel like everybody who's inside of your cell phone should know what you do. I actually challenge you tonight, not tonight, it's a little bit late, but tomorrow, you know, text 5 people you know and tell them that you are doing this as a business. And do they have any people who are interested in buying a home in the next 6 to 12 months? So I go from hot to cold, right? I think a lot of people want to jump straight to social media, posting on Instagram, getting leads in, but it's no like trust factor. So first things first, okay, who's in my phone? And then then I go a little bit further out. Who's in my city, on my block, right? Because everyone does credit repair, but they don't do credit repair in your zip code. So who are the real estate agents? Who are the loan officers in my area? Who are the car dealerships in my area? Who are the apartment complexes in my area? How can I have a conversation with them regarding on how I can serve them? Then I go out a little bit further. All right, what can I do online? My Facebook, my Instagram, my YouTube, my Twitter, my TikTok. Where are these people at? So I go from my cell phones and my emails to the people I talk to the people who are in my city doing the business that who most likely needs people with good credit, to then the social media realm of things. Before you get to social media, you should exhaust those first 2 layers. And a lot of times it kind of comes down to, some people are just nervous about telling people that they love, that know them, that, hey, I started a business doing this particular thing. But if you look in your cell phone right now, you most likely got 50 to 100 people who know you. You should be able to get 5 to 10 people off of that, even though the conversation might be a little bit tough, unfortunately. What is Zapier? So Zapier is it's like a place where, how can I explain Zaps? It connects systems without coding. So say you used Go High Level, right? and you wanted to connect that to Dispute Panda, you can do that through Zapier. Say you used a certain WordPress website stuff, or matter of fact, say you were doing Facebook lead forms and you want to connect that inside of a Google document, you can do that through Zapier. Would you attack child supports just like you do a BK? Yes, similar to. And number two, so child support only it's thrown on the report when you are in arrears. I guess the conversation I also will have with the client is, how can we get caught up? Because what's going to happen is, so say you get it deleted, typically that it's like a rolling reporting period. Like every quarter, every 3 to 4 months, you might see child support on there again. So it's a scenario where, okay, one, how do we get caught up on this thing? Two, I'm going to attack it in a similar manner, right? I'm going to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. I'm going to follow probably the red attack flow. I'm going to hit those secondaries up. And then after my first 2 rounds, I'm going to see if I got any movement on it before I start going into, say, maybe a factual or consumer law mode and trying to pick it apart from that realm. But if we get our client caught up on their child support, the chances of a removal is much, much, much higher. With Dispute Panda Pro, do you think you will get results faster than the regular Dispute Panda? So Pro gives you the ability to do the creditor letters. So in my experience, that provides you a faster way of getting results as well. But I want you to look at Pro more so like, hey, this is the business aspect of things, right? So yes, we have the creditor letters. Yes, it gives me more flexibility in that realm. But Pro is really for people who want to do this as a business and be as effective as possible from a business perspective. Can you get great results with Dispute Panda? Absolutely. Pro's more so the business side of the house, and then you have those creditor letter aspect of things also. And of course, then there's the future things that's only going to be Pro only. So the fact that you can do creditor letters, I would say yes. I have no clue. I've seen it get removed in 1 round. I've seen it go 12. That's the one thing. If I could put it's going to be 3 rounds every time, then we would put that in a guarantee. I think if we could guarantee that, we'd be the best in the world. Unfortunately, we have no clue what the consumer reporting agency is going to do. Like case in point, if they decide to be funny and try to stall the first month, then your response to that is totally different. What I like to tell the consumer is on average, you're going to be in the program for 5 or 6 months. That's what I would tell my client. If the client is not patient enough to give you 180 days to work the process, it's going to be tough pleasing that client, because by law, the consumer reporting agencies have 30 days to respond to your inquiry. So if you send something on the 1st and it gets there on the 7th, 30 days from then is when you possibly going to see a response. And they stall you out 1 time, you're already at a 60-day mark already. So that's how I like to kind of keep it with everyone, because unfortunately you can't speed up the consumer reporting agencies. So it might happen that first 40 days, but it might happen in day 180. I've seen scenarios where nothing moved for 3 months or so. And then that 4th month, that 5th month, all of a sudden everything gets removed. And sometimes you can't control it. Julian said, "You man, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for saying that, Julian." Since you have to have a contract for the state the client is in, would it make sense to have contracts for a few states and just accept clients in those states? Well, due to CROA and laws, you most likely have to move that way anyway in the beginning, because you got to be bonded typically in certain states that you do business in. There's a couple ways you can kind of get around that. You can have like a general contract that kind of covers all of those states. But what you're saying is true. I think you start where you are, right? It's far more easy to start in your backyard than it is to try to go semi nationwide. I understand with social media and stuff like that, you can reach a lot. Talking about like a one-on-one credit repair company, and once you start getting into the bonding requirements and the license requirements and things like that, it could possibly get a bit costly. But what you can do is that, hey, if you get somebody in the state in which you don't want to serve, let's say Georgia, for example, I'm going to keep hammering on this one, Georgia, maybe you offer a different service. Maybe it's a, hey, I'm going to give you the letters to send on your own type service, right? Which is a little bit different. It's a little bit modified. Maybe you don't offer credit repair at all. You offer some other type of service, and it just happens to come with the letters as well. So you can kind of get crafty when it comes to some of the states that you don't necessarily want to work in. I'm starting myself, but I'm having a hard time with Credit Dino. I would say support at creditdino.com and then give them a phone call. They will give you a call back to work through any issues that you might have. And typically, they do call you back. They be on it. Do you recommend sending a debt validation before or after sending a 1099 A, B, or C? I'm a huge fan of sending the debt validation letter and cease and desist and refusal to pay. It's kind of situational. Like things under $1,000, I'm comfortable with the cease and desist refusal to pay. And debt validation is, to me, that's kind of like par for the course, right? You can send that off, and then you can still send your attacks. My original flow was debt validation letter. Well, clean up personal information, debt validation letters to all the collection agencies, attacking all the secondary bureaus for the negative accounts, and then attacking with the consumer reporting agency. So around day 7 to 10, I'll get around to attacking the consumer reporting agencies. So either I'm sending a debt validation letter or a cease and desist refusal to pay, or just a cease and desist to kind of freeze up that debt collector. But either of those three, I want to send one of them because in Dispute Panda, they have languages so my client is not being harassed. That's the one thing that I like to stop. Like I don't want the phone calls to keep happening, because consumers are getting nervous. They think a lawyer is calling them and they got to all of a sudden pony up the money to pay, and that ruins your process. So I like to send that. So if the debt collector does violate my client's rights, I'm able to move forward with some form of litigation aspect. Are contract agreements important to use, and do I send them with attacks? Contract agreements will be what your client signs, Eric, to do business with you, right? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. But no, you wouldn't send your contract with the attack. Like, if anything, you will send with the attack will be, say, supporting evidence that your client provided you. So say, I know a lot of people were asking about late payments earlier. So say you had a scenario in which the consumer proved that they weren't late, right? So you're attacking this late payment individually. Say you're using a paralyzing touch point, and you upload the proof that the payments were made with that particular attack, right? Or say your client was a victim of identity theft. You got your Dispute Panda Pro, and you want to send in that identity theft affidavit with your attack to the consumer reporting agencies to say, hey, my client was a victim of identity theft. Here's the FTC report. Here's the police report. Yada, yada, yada. Delete all this stuff off according to XYZ USC code, blah, 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 blah. Yes, you can do that. So if they get a paid consultation, you can automatically enroll them inside of there. You should be able to do that with Kong Automation's Jamita, or any other automation provider that you're using, to be honest. That should be fairly simple to do. John, so creditor letters are available in Dispute Panda for free when you use Credit Dyno credit monitoring. So the creditor letters are so you need to read the credit report. So every credit report typically has the person who put that item on there. There's typically an address for the original creditor, who that original creditor is on that thing. So when you import Credit Dyno inside your disputing tab, you're going to see some addresses there. And when you go to your, well, it's Credit Dyno and Pro, sorry. So when you go to your tax tab, you're going to see the ability to attack the original creditor also. Let me see if I can show you what it's going to look like. I actually did it earlier in the sample of this presentation. Yeah, here it is. Remove from scene, share screen, window. All right, so in my disputing tab here, you see this address bar here. This is unique to Credit Dyno because the system can read. So Credit Dyno uses JSON and not HTML. That's why there's like a one-click import, right? And every account within Credit Dyno, a couple things occur. You get up to 7 years payment history, which is huge when you're attacking late payments or doing anything like that, instead of 2. And then you also automatically pull in the addresses that you have here to be able to attack the original creditor also. So Acima Digital, who is the creditor who put it on here, this is the address in which they're saying you can challenge them at. So when you go to your save filter here, you go to your start new round, say you want to do the red, you're doing the red flow pinwheel attack, say you're doing a supreme booster, you see the checkbox goes right there, generate credit letter. So it automatically generates it when you create your attack. So if I was to come in here and hit start new round, hit confirm, you see how it popped open creditor letter 2? And even though I had to type confirm there, because I had some free attacks there, it's not charging me for those particular attacks. So the other thing is, every time, even if you have free attacks, and it should be right there below, you see how it says free attack? It will make you type confirm and show the cost of the round. But if you have free attacks, it will just pull from your free attack pool versus your credits. As you see, the credit letters are created. And let me see if I can open these up. Let me show you what this looks like. Window. So it has the name and address of all the creditors for every single last one. And it generates it at the same time. My nurturing email campaign if they don't become a client. Yep, you can do that as well. You can do that as well, Jamita. I'm on the pro trial. Would I be able to have access to the academy training on Monday? Yes. So whether it's pro trial, the pro trial or the pro, yeah. And yes, you should. So that's the other thing. On Monday, it's not like it's going to be like after, I believe like Sunday would be the deadline. It's not like if you join on Monday or Tuesday, you still get in. You're going to have to wait until the next cohort release. So ideally, we want to take our time with everyone who's going to join pro and a credit repair business blueprint, especially the first one, right? So it's like, once you guys get the best result possible, get the most hands-on that we possibly can be. So it's a scenario where if you're going to do it, it makes the most sense to do it before Sunday. Make sure you're on your pro trial. Make sure you're all locked in. So you can definitely get in on that Monday start date. Freezing the secondary agencies does not help you at all, unfortunately. Let me give you a. Let me see something. I actually would highly do not recommend that you do a freeze of, say, Innovis. Let me see something. They had some verbiage on their website. It definitely is going to. So, for example, if you freeze Innovis, ARS, and all those stuff like that, right? It only the security freeze prevents Innovis credit report from being assessed by most third parties in connections with the application for new credit. And I'll show you where it says that. So it's not that detailed. Let me see if I can zoom in. Nope, it's not zooming in. But so freezing the secondaries, right? It's like freezing Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. When you freeze Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, what does it stop? It stops people from applying for new credit. Does it stop if you made a late payment? Does that late payment not get reported to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion? No, it will get reported, right? Because you already had an existing business relationship. So third parties that still have access to your Innovis credit report when a security freeze in place include companies that have current accounts or relationships with you, collection agencies acting on behalf of companies that have current account or existing relationship with you, credit monitoring companies, state or local agencies, including law enforcement, child supporting agencies, federal government agencies as permitted under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Freezing does not help you get removals. I'm not sure who started that, but it's like it says it on the website clearly. Hey, man, you can freeze your report. It ain't going to stop people who will report negative stuff from getting on your Innovis report. You are better attacking them. That's why in all the static letters, that's not asking for a freeze. That's actually disputing the information on the reports. Freezing does nothing if your goal is removal. Freezing does nothing if your goal is removal. So yes, use the static letters to attack. Freezing does nothing. I need to learn how to do this so I can be forever rich. It's pretty straightforward, man. All right, get your pro account, join us in the Credit Repair Business Blueprint, ask questions. I will try. The team will try our best to get you to the point where you understand and are confident with everything, so you go out and help as many people as you can. I believe New York does not have any. I mean, you have to follow CROA, right? But I don't believe New York has laws regarding their state. I know I have a breakdown inside the Credit Repair Business Blueprint just off the top of my head. I believe New York is one of those states where you don't need a bond to be able to do business there. Will there be a place in Pro where you can place our contracts in Pro for our clients? Yes. So if you go into your settings, Dre, if you go into your, I got it here. I'll show you. And Raquel covers this on the, I believe she covers this on the onboarding call too. Can you guys, hopefully you guys can still hear me. Let me bring it here. I'll just bring it over here. So if you go to your three dots on the bottom left, you go to settings, you go to organization, service agreement. So three dots, settings, organization tab, and then service agreement is where you can put your contract, right? Glaston says, if I sign up for Pro and you already sent an attack, is it too late to send those new letters that just rolled out? I'm assuming you're referring to creditor letters. Creditor letters can only be generated. I'm assuming you're referring to creditor letters. Creditor letters can only be generated at the same time as an attack. So what if I was you, what I would do is I would just send them on that second or third round. I wouldn't generate a new attack just to send the creditor letters. So just do it on the second or third round. Number two, if you're when we roll out updates, right, you would have to re-import the credit report for it to trigger. So that's another scenario that you can do now. I would say if you want to re-import your credit report right now so you'll be able to do it for the next time, you can. It's not going to pull a new one until the 35-day mark. And I'll keep in mind, you want to be using Credit Dyno if you're trying to use creditor letters. It doesn't work with any other credit monitoring. Brendan, if they sent a validation letter and they send you a statement back, is that validating the account? If they sent you everything regarding that, yes, that could prove to be validation, which is fine, right? That doesn't stop you from attacking. That doesn't stop you from moving forward of trying to get things deleted. As I said in Dispute Panda Live #1, right? Your credit score is a byproduct of your financial behavior. You're going to have improvement things, and you're going to have repair. You're going to have improvement. So as you're doing your improvement, that's the only thing that you can guarantee. The repair stuff is going to possibly take some time. So if they came back with something with the debt validation letter, you're going to move forward. You'll attack your secondaries, and then you're also going to attack the consumer reporting agencies, and you're just going to follow your attack flow. John says, I happen to be in Georgia. So your location doesn't matter when it comes to the company. It's where your client resides. Just keep that in mind. Your location can be in Georgia. You cannot, it's the Georgia residence in which you will have some issues serving under a typical credit repair arrangement. There are some people who I know who reside in the state of Georgia, and instead of charging them for their credit repair stuff, they say, hey, get my Credit Dyno monitoring. I'll send you your attack so you can do your thing. And, they can still serve their community while being in compliance. So Julian, it's going to be inside of, everyone will be getting an email with it. So I believe on Sunday, things start to roll out so we can get started fresh thing on Monday. I believe it's going to be inside of our CRM from what the tech team is telling me. So everyone who has Active Pro will get access to the Pro community as well as access to the Credit Repair Business Blueprint so we can get started on Monday. Marcus, can you explain the subscribe and save billing? Great question. Okay, so what we noticed was that after analyzing credit purchases and things like that, we noticed that a lot of people were purchasing credits in like the under, $50 range. So our mindset was, well, a lot of people aren't doing the 500 credits, 1,000 credits, yada, yada, yada. They're doing a little bit lower. So how can we help those people out? And the idea of the subscribe and save kind of came up where essentially instead of you just buying 20 in credits, right? Why don't you just do the subscribe and save and then you get 30 every month? So like if you in your scenario, right? So say you're using mail, right? You're using Credit Dyno, so there's no attack cost, but you're mailing. So instead of you just buying $20 in mail, why don't you just subscribe and save and you'll get 30? Or if you're a person that's using a little bit more, why don't you subscribe and save? 60 gets you 90 every month. Because we noticed just like some of the other higher tiers just weren't being used by the clientele. And to give the people who are spending, $20 to $60 a boost, hey, here's 50% top up by using this method. So essentially, I have a $60 subscribe and save here. So every month on 9/25, I'll get 60 will come out, but Dispute Panda gives me 90 in credits. If I was on the $20 plan, 20 will come out, but Dispute Panda gives me $30 in credits. So you kind of get a bonus for using the subscribe and save plan in that manner. And I wasn't even showing my screen. So I'm going to do that all over again. Okay. So I have a $60 subscribe and save plan going. That means every month Dispute Panda gives me 90. If I have the $20 subscribe and save plan, because I was going to buy $20 in credits every month, Dispute Panda gives me 30. And the reason why we did that, because there was a lot more people buying in that $20 and $60 range than buying in the $250, $500, $1,000, $3,000 range. So it was like, okay, let's get rid of the tiers that a lot of our people aren't using and give the people extra credits. You know, if 80%, 90% of the people are buying at this tier, give those people the love versus the less than 0.005% who are purchasing at $1,000 or $3,000 tier. So there are some very interesting rules when it comes to Georgia and serving Georgia residents, John. So if you're serving a Georgia residents, you will have to either, you know, the choice is yours, right? Not some people don't wear a seatbelt all the time, right? Until they get caught. So you could serve Georgia residents at your own, risk, or you can come up with a different way of serving Georgia residents. Whether it's doing it for free in lieu of credit monitoring, doing the DIY thing, creating some other alternative product. But from my understanding, it's very tough to do credit repair in Georgia on the up and up. Does Credit Dino have an affiliate program? Absolutely. So if you go to your dashboard, you can become basically a Credit Dino affiliate as soon as you hit that there. Or you can send an email to support@creditdino.com and they can send you all their affiliate options from $10 all the way up to $50 in commissions if you like to. What's the link to the community? JM, drop the link to the community for him, please. I was confused with the flow attack. So the cool thing is all the attack flows work. I believe we're also working on a updated one. So the knock on wood, the credit repair business blueprint will get the most up to date advanced workflow that we've been working on for the last 2 or 3 months. So, Dre, this is a great question. So, Credit Dino uses Vantage. Some credit scoring companies use the credit card, the Vantage score for credit cards as well. They track very close. The so the answer is yes. So every credit monitoring company that would go into any credit software is most likely using Vantage, with the exception of MyScoreIQ. Now, here's the thing, though. MyScoreIQ uses a FICO score 8, which is not the FICO score that is used for credit cards. So the best way to know that you're going to get approved is, this is what I would say. If you're talking about AMEX, you want to have a 680 plus. You want to have no late payments in the last 2 years. You want to have less than 5 inquiries and no collections. And most likely you going to have a great chance of getting any major bank card, Amex, your Capital Ones, your Chases, and so on and so forth. The score is half the battle. It's the profile when it comes to getting approved for credit cards and funding. Any funding specialist will tell you that. They want a 680. They want to see at least 5 revolving cards there. They want to see no late payments. They want to see no collections. They want to see low increase. If you can get that profile, then your chance of getting approved for the Amex goes through the roof. Where do I upload documents I receive from the collections after an attack? Are you trying to send them to so Frank, if you're doing the work for yourself, then you don't need to upload that documentation to Dispute Panda, right? So if you got a deletion, you would just say, okay, cool, I don't need to do anything with it. If it says verified, you would either wait to the next second attack and send your attack off, or you would send a static verify, right? So you don't necessarily need to upload or anything. Now, if you're a client of someone, right, and they're using Dispute Panda, let's say this is for your client, you can log into your Safe Client Access. You can upload that into the inbox and send it to whoever is working on your credit, so then they can follow up afterwards. But you don't need to upload any of your disputing results inside of Dispute Panda at all. Cool. All right, so that was the last question we have on there. Do you guys have any other questions for me? Any concerns, any questions about the Pro Credit Repair Business Blueprint, the training getting started on Monday? Anything like that? I try to answer every single last question that you guys have for me in the chat because, I don't like to leave you guys hanging. Oh, I think I was only showing questions from YouTube. Man, I might have missed some. Oh, no, I was answering John. John's on Facebook. I was answering John properly. I know this is different from the last live. This was a little bit more Q&A straightforward. So I know before I was teaching, I believe I taught for like 45 minutes to an hour and then did Q&A, but haven't talked to you guys in a while. So I figured we go straight into Q&A since we're launching a educational product for you guys anyway. Wanted to show you guys the ins and out of it. All right, so keep in mind, Credit Repair Business Blueprint is starting on Monday. It's going to cover getting started, the mindset around it, the numbers around the business, structuring our business, getting leads into our business, sales in our business, as well as education, getting results in our business, and then educational components. So it's pretty structured like that. We're going to go for 2 to 3 weeks, and we're definitely going to have our own community, our own interaction, and our own live calls. So I appreciate you guys for rocking out with me. Don't forget to get your Dispute Panda Pro trials. That is how you get in. Get your pro trial. Also, click the link in the description as well. So you can, oh, that's what I meant to ask. Man, I've been telling you guys about referrals. This is one thing I want to do. I want you guys to do for me really quickly. So JM dropped the link inside of the chat here. And this also is inside of the, that link is also inside the description. I want you guys to go to that link for me. Go to that link for me. And this is something we are definitely going to Dispute Panda. Let me see if I can get it to come up. So I want you guys to go to this link for me here that you guys see on the screen and inside of the actual description, right? And let me share my screen so you guys can see what I see. So when you go to that link, it's going to look like this. When you go to that link, it's going to look like this. Let me take JM off. And the join the community, it'll be the very first one. So you're going to be in the community, the regular community. So just hold tight. We'll make sure everyone who's in pros in the pro community. You also got your Credit Dino stuff and then YouTube stuff. A lot of you guys already follow us on YouTube. But the one thing I want you to do here is I want you to go to that form here and then just provide us 30 seconds on why you like Dispute Panda, what it has done for your business, so we can better improve our processes. So 30 seconds, just tell us about your experience with Dispute Panda, positive or negative. Drop a video in there. Hopefully it's going to be positive, and we would definitely love that. And we're going to prioritize the people who do that, right? So the people who go to that link and drop in their testimonial, we are going to definitely make sure they get something special. Make sure they get into everything first as well, and some other goodies. So please do us a solid for that. I meant to mention it earlier, but click that link that is inside the description. Drop your first name, last name, the email that you're using for Dispute Panda. Drop your little 30-second video. You can use actually your cell phone to drop that off in there, and we will greatly appreciate it. Doesn't have to be long. It could be super sweet and simple. Maybe we helped you guys speed up your process because you were using another software and it took you 30 minutes to send them a tag. Maybe you got things off deleted that you haven't been able to get deleted before. Maybe you enjoyed the pro community, and maybe you enjoyed our lives, our onboarding calls with Raquel. Anything that you feel as though that you will like the team to know is what we want to hear from you, and we appreciate it. So I meant to say that a little bit earlier, forgot all about that link there, but that's how you get into community, and definitely drop that in there so we can get you guys into the credit repair business blueprint also. JD says, so are you showing somebody? Yes. Showing step-by-step attacking for every single last negative item inside of the class. Yes, sir. And even there's going to be hot seats, Eric. So say there's a scenario you have with a client where you're like, hey, I'm having trouble with this one. What would you do? When we have our Zoom calls, we can come up and, get into the nitty-gritty of your unique circumstances, right? I think, you can speak generally about stuff, but when you bring up that credit dyno report and we're looking at that late payment history, we're analyzing an account, that allows us to get a little bit deeper if we needed to go into, factual consumer law mode. All right, so we're going to end it with JD. JD says, thanks again for taking the time to answer all of our questions. Best wishes. I appreciate you, man. I thank you guys for rocking out with me for 2 hours, not 4 hours this time, not 3 hours this time, only 2 hours. So I look forward to seeing you guys inside of the Credit Repair Business Blueprint. I look forward to seeing you guys inside of the Dispute Panda Pro community. I look forward to helping you guys reach your goals. I think that's what it's all about. The next 6 months to a year, a lot of people is going to need help. So I think if we start now, everybody's going to be prepared to help all the people that's going to need help. And I think it'll be dope if you can just help your friends and family, the people that you love, your circle, win at this credit game, right? Sometimes it ain't about making $250,000 a month, even though that's great. But if you can help your mother, your father, your uncle, your niece understand credit and not make some of the mistakes that we all made coming up, that's a W. And I'll be honored to help you guys do that. So appreciate you. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Peace.